Hi everyone. Now, basically little fucking update on my little fucking injury and how I've gone getting off the oxys. Now, some might have seen my previous video a bit concerned about how the hell I was, going to come off oxycodone after I think nearly 2.5 months. I attempted to stop and I got actually quite unwell. I couldn't stop, I was addicted. I've had, serious opium problems in the past. Now, how I went about it, I actually got hold of about 3 ounces of Kratom. So what I did was I timed it so that didn't know much about Kratom actually. I've never had any reason to. It's not the type of substance that I have any reason to look into. I have heard potential problems with it. In terms of addiction and stuff like that, and of course me having had a history of addiction, it's something I haven't researched, I've steered clear of, it doesn't mean I don't think it, has potential uses for others. It just hasn't been something of interest to me until, being in a position where I had a, opium dependence to deal with. Now, so how did I go about it? I got hold of the Kratom and then I've done a little bit of pre-planning. I tried some on the day and it wasn't enough to hold me. I had like 1 gram or so and a couple of times, but I didn't have much there, so I didn't want to waste it. So I'd done some research and I couldn't take it, the withdrawal, so I went back on the oxy while I planned, and then I got hold of some Ayahuasca, and I planned to basically time it so it finished after a weekend of dance and I had a couple of days free. And then on the Sunday night, basically I hit myself with actually quite a strong dose of ayahuasca in an attempt to purge the oxycodone from my system. Now, it was quite an intense experience, quite uncomfortable really, very visually intense at times, but I felt as if it was pushing the oxy out, quite uncomfortable in a lot of ways for quite a number of hours. Very uncomfortable. I dosed about midnight after I'd been out dancing, and I had quite an uncomfortable experience, and I got a little bit of sleep, and then I woke up the following day and I dosed some magic mushrooms, only a relatively small dose. I think it was 0.8 of a gram, which to me is basically a microdose. I know a lot of people wouldn't consider that, or would consider that quite heavy from, however, it was enough to get me through, most of the day. Then I hit another, I think I do have it documented, I think I hit another, only a 0.5 of a gram of mushrooms later, and that was day 1. And then at the end of day 1, during the night again, around midnight once again, I hit myself with a 2nd dose of ayahuasca. Nowhere near as intense a experience, nowhere near as uncomfortable as the first one. And then after getting a little bit of sleep, I woke up the next day and had a little bit heavier dose of Kratom, around 2 grams, and that was enough to hold me. And then basically over the following 7 days I basically had between 2 to 2.5 grams 3 to 4 times a day for the following 7 days. And that got me through those 7 days quite comfortably, actually. Like, you know, if I run out and if I left it go too long, I would become, you know, a little, you know, quite uncomfortable, but and my pain would come through. It actually worked very well, not only in getting me through the oxycodone withdrawals, but also in holding my pain. I noticed since coming off when I initially had the motorcycle accident, like when I was laying on the road, I was worried I was going to be a paraplegic. You know, I had significant pain through the middle of my back, felt like I had a broken back, as well as I knew the collarbone was smashed, but it wasn't until, I'm not sure at what stage I probably started trying to wriggle my toes and stuff, but yeah, it's a bit of a blur actually. Now thinking about those hours after the accident, but you know, the point is I had, you know, significant back pain at the time of the accident until they loaded me up with enough fentanyl and then transferred me over to the oxy. And I still, you know, the collarbone pain was coming through my oxy doses. Even when I was, you know, up around 80 mils a day, I was still, you know, at times the pain at the collarbone was coming through. However, you know, I didn't notice the back issues really for a couple of months until I started reducing the oxys, and then I started noticing it. But having come off the oxys, that's come through, and it's actually giving me probably more significant pain than the collarbone injury itself, you know. I had my last dose of Kratom on the Monday of the long weekend, Easter weekend. So I think I'm possibly 10 days, possibly makes me 10 days off the Kratom now. I've been doing significantly well. I mean, I've been able to manage the pain so far. I haven't had any oxy in that time, so I haven't had any oxy in a couple of weeks now. Well, 2.5 weeks, I think. Potentially, I'm trying not to. There's times where I think maybe I should have it, but I wanted to clear my system so I didn't have a habit first. And then, you know, perhaps if I need it intermittently, then, you know, I can take it like that, you know, I just didn't want to, I wanted to properly clear my system to ensure that I don't just slip back into dependence upon it. You know, however, so far I have been able to manage the pain with Voltaren as an anti-inflammatory and some Panadol, which hasn't always helped me, and sometimes I have questioned myself whether I'm trying to be, you know, too much of a man, and, you know, like, because my bone's fucking not healing. I mean, I think I've shared my theory that, you know, I've healed one of the bones crooked using the Ayahuasca, you know, which I can back up with science, has roles in cellular proliferation, and that experience, I felt it healing. You know, after I went from 80 milligrams of oxy down to nothing the following day. Then I didn't have any oxy for the next couple of days, but I had 2 doses of ayahuasca in 2 days, and no oxy the following days until I re-injured myself in my sleep. However, I believe I healed that bone wrong. Now I've had 9 doses of ayahuasca as well as a big dose of mushrooms. I'm actually thinking the one problem that I've had, it was incredible, the Kratom, throughout that week I didn't experience, really any signs of withdrawal. They started coming on maybe in between doses, but as long as I topped up every several hours with the Kratom, it worked. I was out dancing, riding my motorcycle. I found this little koala and I fucking called him a cunt and hung out with him for probably 20 minutes or so. But the one problem I've had is almost immediately upon taking the ayahuasca, I don't know whether that comes up in the video, maybe I can get a bit closer. I got this freaking rash. Can I get the light in it? Yeah, I don't know whether it comes up. I got this rash under my arms. It's under both armpits. It's quite uncomfortable. I'm in the weather here at the moment. We're coming into winter. We've had some pleasant days actually, but it's starting to get really cold at night. Thank fuck. Like this would be unbearable during summer months. However, compared to oxy withdrawal, a rash under my arms has been relatively small price to pay. Now I have from forums found that this is quite common. I'm actually wondering about dosing another dose of ayahuasca to try and clear it. I've heard ayahuasca doesn't mix well with Kratom. And I haven't had the Kratom now for, like I said, 9 or 10 days. I don't know how long it lingers in your system. However, these rashes aren't going away and they are very uncomfortable. I don't know how antihistamines go with ayahuasca either, so I'm going to avoid. I do have some of them in the car from when I got stung by a bee on the motorbike, I think late last year, soon after I got my first motorbike, or technically my third motorbike. I built my first out of junk when I lived at Nan and Grandpa's. Built a motorbike out of rubbish, and then I bought a heap of shit when I was younger in the hills, and I was going to end up killing myself on that. So I fucking got rid of motorbikes, and now I'm old. I thought I'd be safer, but I don't know. I fucking like them. I like them a lot. Fucking lot. But fuck yeah. So what I'm thinking is, due to the fact that ayahuasca fucking, acts as a fucking nutrient in providing powerful sustenance to the central nervous system that fucking, basically facilitates a fucking immune response, about fucking tenfold of the power and efficiency of the immune system, as well as, I guess, the harmonisation, but it plays massive roles in the regulation of inflammatory systems and cellular proliferation, so basically I'm hoping that it has the power to help clear up this rash. I might be in for a bit of an uncomfortable experience if the Kratom is still lurking around in my system. However, I've given it a reasonable amount of time to get out. I don't know why I haven't had the ayahuasca earlier. I was planning on having it to get the Kratom out of my system. I haven't been able to bring myself to take it. It's weird. It's the only substance I've ever been able to prepare and leave in the fridge for, when I can take it on my terms. And I guess it's one of those things, yes, there is a great amount of interest in these substances. The cat's out of the bag, and a lot of people are becoming interested in their use. And you know, I do believe that you know, we need to look at environmentally responsible ways of ensuring that of protecting, you know, the countless species of plants that you know, may be at risk. And the best way to do that is to make these substances available and to farm them, and, you know, not try and restrict them. You know, these aren't, the abuse potential is extremely low. It is very, the amount of courage it takes for someone to, you know, whether they drink ayahuasca or smoke DMT, you know, there is a lot of people who do try to take it recreationally and have fun with it, but, you know, this isn't a drug. Yes, there is a certain amount of enjoyment with some of the experiences of some of these substances at that time. I don't know whether I should say 9 times out of 10, a lot of the time they are fucking hard work, whether it's going into, you know, deep introspective reflection, you know, and having, you know, often having to swallow some quite, you know, it's like it switches your brain on like a light globe and allows you to access all the levels of conscious at once, your subconscious. It's like you can put everything you've ever, you know, seen, felt or touched and experienced all out on the table, all at once, and see it all and fucking put it all into context, you know, without the parameters of space and time. You know, it's you know, there is a psychological aspect to it. Yes, some people might find some of the pretty, you know, yeah, they are quite elaborate realms. Today I saw a what did I see? I saw like someone posted a photograph of, like a microscope photograph of the inside of a fucking cell, and the complexity of that. And it was interesting looking at that photo. If, you know, I guess when I started, you know, I didn't read much about people's trip reports and stuff like that when I didn't want to put preconceived ideas into my head. When I started experimenting with the therapeutic value of basically psychedelics, DMT, psilocybin mushrooms, peyote cactus, etc. You know, I just looked at more the chemistry side of things, and, you know, what I needed to know in terms of safety and not accidentally hurting myself and not putting anyone else at risk. And you know, basically, you know, I had heard enough to know, you know, there was a lot of talk of spiritual realms. It's like, do these substances take you within, well, seemed two logical things. They either take you off out to some external realm, or they take you within to some internal realm. And I actually wonder whether it's possibly a little bit of both. You know, this particular photograph of the inside of this cell and the intricacies of that, you know, if I can imagine sort of, you know, to imagine yourself as like a pinprick within that cell, that being your consciousness, transcended, you know, within, travelling through such a, I guess, intricate world, you know, in which it might, you know, interact with foreign entities, and, you know, whether they be, you know, a lot of that stuff, if you look into some of the, you know, shamanic type understandings and stuff like that, they'll, you know, speak of sickness as being, you know, spiritual entities attached and all of that sort of stuff, you know, whether that might be, you know, cancerous cells or viruses, you know, such as, you know, I encountered when I used ayahuasca to clear a suspected case of meningitis. And so yeah, there is that internal facet, and that would, you know, definitely explain that, you know, it's like there are parallels in the, you know, the types of psychedelic realms that we go into, and then also the fact that we meet entities. However, these are often quite different, even though some people may encounter similar type things at times. But, you know, when you consider, you know, the infinite combinations of, I suppose, different, you know, entities or forms of sickness, different types of viruses or cellular mutations, you know, whether they be cancerous or tumorous that we might be carrying at any one time, you know, like they all act as plausible, you know, explanations to, you know, I guess travelling within, and, you know, I guess by fueling that, providing sustenance to the central nervous system, tapping into really extra sensory type information. You know, it certainly does, you know, open up senses within. You know, even if that's, you know, some are more clear, like the physical ones where, you know, my body was able to realign my musculoskeletal system and, you know, access different intrinsic muscles and engage and release those, you know, different muscle groups that I normally wouldn't have, you know, access to. And even with my, you know, by inducing that hyper-reparative state of consciousness, I didn't actually have conscious control of, you know, the contortionist type, you know, yoga-like positions that it put me in. They were very sort of systematic and very low impact, but very, yeah, but it wasn't as if I really had much control over that. It was very subconscious. You know, and it felt like a external force, like as if I'd been touched by God or something like that, you know. However, there are also facets when, you know, I speak of extrasensory capabilities associated with, I guess, the sustenance these consuming these substances provide. You know, you know, there's a lot of evidence suggesting tapping into a collective consciousness, or collective conscience, or however you say it. I've certainly experienced a great deal of evidence that suggests that to be true, that I'm not going to go into now. That stuff, big conversations that, you know, need to be left to a later date. I mean, the reality is I have those, you know, I would say at an estimate over 300 large flood doses of, you know, a broad range of these nutrients or medicines and different combinations over the past, well, 4 years. You know, I've sort of 4 to 5 years, I'm not really sure now. I have to go back and check my notes and count and find dates and shit like that. It's probably been 7 years since my first DMT experience, and I did go hard, and that was when my, you know, initial explorations into the therapeutic value of such substances began. However, you know, there's a long journey from there, but you know, also, like I've said before, you know, they also play the role of, you know, neuroregeneration and neuroprotection, as, you know, I can back up from these with hardcore peer-reviewed medical science, you know, which have been true to my experience with, you know, overcoming a suspected ABI, and you know, all stuff that I feel would, and I guess this medical science does, suggest these substances these need exploring, these need immediate attention, for, all of your neuroregenerative disorders, dementia, Alzheimer's, the amount of pressure we can take off of the fucking system with a substance like this. Yes, this substance, dimethyltryptamine, DMT, a biochemical Swiss Army knife in neuroinflammation and neuroprotection. When you look at something that regulates, harmonizes, or harmoniously regulates the autoimmune functions, so then, massive, one of these, the article I mentioned on psychedelics, N-dimethyltryptamine and 5-MeO N-dimethyltryptamine modulate innate and adaptive inflammatory responses through the sigma-1 receptor of the human mononuclear-derived dendritic cells. Now this does make reference to DMT in humans with and inflammatory responses relevant to the influenza and E. coli viruses. When you look at the ways in which this fucking substance facilitates, maximising the power and efficiency of the immune system and the regulation between states of inflammation in a generalised manner across all organs. I got thrown into a mental institute and I got labelled, delusional and a number of other labels. They've cut me off while I'm ADHD and PTSD. I do take those fucking labels, and I have massive history of anxiety disorders and, stuff like that, claustrophobia and different other things, but, I'm not fucking crazy. It's crazy for me when I've got an article of that fucking quality medical science to try and have a fucking treatment. Yes, I did. At the time it looked like we were going to lose, 30% of the global population. I was fucking in love. I didn't want to see a little boy die. So I fucking had all this hardcore science. So I went and painted COVID-19 treatment on my RV-sized fucking van. I got my mate to fucking paint a wicked piece on it. Fucking after trying to get attention from trying to get patents, trying to fucking go through all the red tape and just getting dead end after dead end after dead end. I painted it on my van and I went and fucking sat in Victoria Square in the middle of Adelaide and fucking threw a rope over the fucking thing line, put it around my neck and said I need to speak to the Prime Minister about tied the other end to my belt, about a COVID-19 treatment. And I ended up with all the fucking news crew around. And eventually I just thought, I don't want to waste too much resources and shit. They shut the whole fucking city's tram lines down for 2 hours in fucking peak hour. And then when the I was surrounded by cops and shit. I wish I got photos. I got photos of selfie with the fucking town clock in the background and shit, noose around my neck. But I didn't get photos like fire engines and fucking cops, and then they got the fucking ambulance, right? And they fucking, they're like, you fucking got enough, and they pointed out all the fucking news crews, and I thought, I've made the fucking news. I thought, I don't want to waste too. If I can get my message across, I'll get out. And I was pretty polite. I was pretty good with the police, and they knew that. I was alright with them. Fucking 5 weeks locked up. Oh, so what makes you think you've got the magical powers? Fucking, it was so scary in there. Talking to me It's absolutely fucking crazy. It reminds me of the information. They'd sit down with me for 5 minutes, ask what my treatment was. I'd tell them I'm not going to tell them. Not willing to disclose the nature of my treatment until, I've had some rights to my work signed over, and I want that signed over to Universal Asylum as a fucking, and Universal Asylum signed over to an NGO status, because I don't know how to really do that, and I don't know how to meet the requirements of that. I do believe these are the most valuable fucking substances in the world. And I'm trying to figure out how to do that, how to get that signed over in a fucking, But even then, I don't want that to restrict it. I want that to be able to fucking give it to everyone. I don't know that they're actually patentable. But they do have the potential. Substances like this have the potential to change medicine and to get rid of most of those medicines. We've got massive problems with the amount of medicine excreted in people's fucking urine. I've fucking seen an amazing article about fucking platypuses consuming, I think, double the fucking daily dose of antidepressants. These show massive, and let's use psychedelics we'll use them for war veterans. Let's use them for the worst case. We'll use them for the worst case. We'll forget that, fucking over 30% of our fucking population is known to be, mentally ill. I guarantee the woman over there who's fucking the lying little mental case, right, who destroyed my fucking life, screamed in my face how good my dad dying was, made me, I guarantee she's not one of the statistics as mentally ill. She's mentally ill as fuck. She's fucking dangerous. I don't know whether someone like Donald Trump is recorded as a statistic as mentally fucking ill, but he fucking is. No, but I am. I'm fucking mentally ill because I'm trying to make a fucking system, am I? Because I fucking read that and I'm like, this needs to be fucking explored. I do have experience with these. No, I'm not delusional. No, I'm not hallucinating. Yes, I have had many experiences with that fit the fucking descriptions of what they would class as hallucinating. Whilst under the influence of substances that are known to cause that, which is a normal response to consuming those substances. The same response you would get if anyone ate them. But I'm mentally ill because I think, because I look at an fucking world and going, it's fucking dying. This would help. This would help heal the species. I'm going to go and fucking drink ayahuasca because I'm a naughty boy, and I'm going to see how it goes on these. I don't know how much it'll help. It might help flush some of the stuff out of my system. And then if I'm still rashy in the morning, I might take some antihistamines and see how things go. I don't fucking know. I'm just loaded with a heap of... I've been drinking tonic water, so quinine. Quinine's actually also in, interestingly, little fun fact, quinine is in Psychotria, which is the name of my snake. It's also a plant used in ayahuasca brews. Now, quinine is an anti-inflammatory, and it's related to that hydroxy fucking whatever. It's a similar type thing, I believe, from what I've been led to believe. I haven't done but from what I understand, they are a similar type thing. Anyway, I find it interesting that quinine just happens to be present in the same plants that contains the DMT. But on top of that, I drank a whole heap of Indian tonic water, which also contains quinine. I've had a heap of multivitamins, like multi-Bs, omega B complex and thiamine, as well as some fish oil, and some creatine. You know, I just figure, you know, if you're going to consume a substance that, or a nutrient that provides sustenance to the central nervous system, vitamin B is fucking not a bad thing to have fucking a bit extra of that floating around your system. If you're going to fucking take some that, you know, helps your immune system or facilitates an immune response, you know, involving the regulation of inflammatory systems and stuff like that, you know, a bit of creatine ain't gonna fucking do any harm, you know, and fucking fish oil's always good. A little bit of oil ain't gonna fucking do me no harm either, you know, but, you know, give my body what it fucking needs. And I had a couple of like fucking, just be like, I'm not good at fasting and shit, so I like smash some fucking, what are they, the connoisseur, like orange, like blood orange fucking ice creams. They're fucking good. You know, I've never been good at fasting, and see it is, I can see the benefits, I can see the, like, because these substances heal everything. Like if you can fast and get rid of, eliminate all them other bullshit fucking toxins, the more of them that you can eliminate, like the less of the substance you're gonna waste, you know, fucking sorting out bullshit, you know, dealing with small fry, cleaning up shit. Where if you start with a clean fucking workspace, it's heaps easier for the ayahuasca to do its work. But, you know, my problem is I'm alcoholic, I'm fucking addicted to everything. I can't like have like chocolate ice creams, blood orange chocolate ice creams in my freezer and not eat them. They don't last fucking long. So I haven't fucking fasted. So, you know, and I'm eating a packet of fucking twisties and fucking like, yeah, I'm shit at fucking fasting and I've had red meat. But, you know, I guess, you know, I haven't had super processed fucking heaps of shit, but I haven't fucking exactly fasted. Anyway, let's see how we go with this fucking rash. That's my little fucking update on my fucking, like, I've never been able, it's absolutely incredible, I've never been able to come off fucking oxys in my life, you know. It's crazy that like Kratom's been banned. I can see there is lots of potential problems with it, but I don't know that they're really the end of the world. I don't know that they're bad enough to justify banning it. However, you know, it certainly helped me in the short term anyway. You know, I don't know nearly as fucking much about that. I don't even know a fraction as much about that substance as I do the psychedelics that I've had. You know, when I say 300 large doses, a lot of those experiences, many of those experiences lasted up to 18 hours. You know, with the biggest possibly being 20. You know, and, you know, minimum, you know, like, I mean, it's weird, some of my ayahuasca experiences, like the one where I cleared the viral meningitis, that one only actually went, I think, for about an hour and a half, and once it cleared the infection, it basically wore off. But, you know, some of those experiences have been, you know, or probably more of them have been most of them have been more around the 5-hour mark. You know, with, you know, that has its own stages, you know, it has its, you know, half-hour onset and, you know, maybe through, you know, anywhere between 1 and 3 hour peak or 2.5 hour peak, and then, you know, a bit of a taper off at the end. You know, but the point is I've spent a lot of time fucking healing, and, you know, there is, some of that is great, there is joy, you know, like, but it is also hard fucking work a lot of the time, and I do find it uncomfortable, and I don't want to be like the fun police, but I think, you know, like, that's some of the dangers with people who aren't necessarily sick. You got young and healthy people, you know, popping a bit of acid and having fun, and then, you know, potentially finding themselves in trouble, and then I guess, you know, the bigger problem is that, I guess the perpetuation of fear and misunderstanding around these substances and stigmatisation and you know, subsequently counterproductive and, you know, legislation and policy that may, you know, follow on through them. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, you know, that magic mushrooms are classed similar as fucking heroin. I mean, I can eat a fucking ounce of fucking magic mushrooms in one hit and roll around in bed and heal, you know, an ounce of dry mushrooms. However, that's treated, I believe, treated about the same punishment as, you know, I never eat really any less than 5 grams of mushrooms as a solid dose. You know, yet an ounce of heroin. I mean, my mate died on $12 worth of heroin. An ounce of heroin has a potential to fucking kill 400 people. You know? I mean, there's a lot of fucking variables, because, you know, I know people with fucking, who have had huge fucking heroin habits and probably use a fucking ounce of heroin in 4 days. You know, I don't know. You know, maybe people are exaggerating a bit, but, you know, sort of, I have heard of people at least fucking, you know, reporting having fucking 7 gram fucking habits. You know, and that was actually a fucking prostitute, poor girl. Bit of a hardcore story, that one. You know, and you think of what she had to go through to fucking support a habit like that, but, you know, I mean, what my point is, you know, like, I guess, you know, the legislation needs to be fucking reviewed on a lot of these substances and looked at individually as far in terms of their, like, the risks they present in different manners and the risks of legislation. I've found it extremely scary, the recent trends in censorship, particularly of mushroom groups. The biggest danger of magic mushrooms is someone eating the wrong one. So the biggest danger of magic mushrooms is someone eating a mushroom that isn't a magic mushroom. So the magic mushroom isn't itself dangerous. Chemically you can eat, I can eat a fucking ounce of them, no fucking worries. It's for the amount that are consumed, it's very rare. Occasionally you'll hear people, oh, they ended up, I don't know what they mixed them with. Occasionally you'll hear someone who's reported to have, you know, lost their mind forever. Occasionally, it's fucking very rare. And there isn't any information, like, you know, there's no real way of knowing what they mixed them with, you know, to, you know, I guess, look at other factors in that. You know, I mean, the fact is, peanuts kill people. Every now and then peanuts fucking kill people. We're gonna ban fucking peanuts. We have fucking peanut black markets, all that sort of shit. Just, you know, it's insane. You know, some people couldn't go. You imagine the fucking vegans if we banned fucking nuts. You know? Be international fucking nut syndicates and shit. But, you know, we do need to really take a look at all this stuff and how to make this safer. You know, because a lot of people are looking at this stuff. It does take a lot of courage, like I've said. I don't think by speaking about this stuff, you know, I need to be able to have open conversations about it. Look, even things like I wholeheartedly believe heroin should be legalised. And more so with heroin, medicalised, under medical supervision for heroin. I don't believe that needs to be the case, should be the case with most psychedelics. However, you know, and I'm someone who has found, you know, someone I love fucking dead, you know, from a heroin overdose, you know, but also someone who is, you know, has a critical enough understanding to recognise, you know, that it was more the circumstances created by the war on drugs that led to that fucking death, and that contributes to most fucking deaths associated with that substance. You know, I'm also, you know, emotionally fucking mature enough to be able to fucking set some of that fucking pain aside and not dismiss the repeated, you know, consistently repeated medical fucking results of the heroin trials across the room. It has consistently, everywhere it has been tried, they've increased the health of participants, you know, physical health, family health, fucking, you know, reduction in crime. They're able to undertake employment, you know, function as members of families within the broader community. You know, it is win-win-win for absolutely everyone, you know. Yet, due to the, you know, way our political structure is set up, you know, politicians ignore scientists over and over again. It's absolute fucking bullshit. You know, anyway, I'm gonna go drink some fucking ayahuasca. Well, actually, here we go. I'll fucking drink some fucking for you. There's a bit sitting in the fridge. I've never been able to, look at my DASA file, I've never been able to leave something like this in the fucking, like, any substance sit there for a fucking week. Wow. It doesn't fucking taste very good either. It's pretty earthy, pretty, you know, this is not something that's going to, you know, the thing is, where it creates your problems and risks for your environment is, you know, if you've got an increasingly sick population and you've got a substance that does this, more and more people are going to look at exploring it. You know, I believe I've got a lot of insight to offer into the potential use of these substances and how they can safely and most effectively be integrated into our society. But I'm just a kid who's got a disability pension and somehow got a social work degree after spending fucking like half of my life as a fucking full-blown drug addict. Now, you know, just to have my life destroyed and turn to plant medicines for healing, you know, like, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes on the fucking rash, hey? I fucking healed my fucking bones, I reckon, shut, so they won't fucking heal together. So hopefully I don't fuck up the rash, but we'll see. It's all been a bit like the Wild West fucking, you know, exploring some of this shit. But I'm certainly a lot fucking healthier and happier than I was a few fucking years ago. Well, I don't want to die anymore. I want to fucking live. And I wanted to fucking die. You know, I wanted to fucking die. I think there's plenty of documented fucking evidence over fucking Facebook. Anyway, I'm gonna fuck off.